Hi, this is Michael Williams, founder of the Start Speaking Training Center, and I'd like to tell you a little bit about our private intensive coaching. And so to do that, I just want to share just a brief story with you about three people. One person's name is James Earl Jones. Some of you have probably heard that James Earl stuttered and may still stutter in some ways or another, but he stuttered for many years growing up, and the story goes that he kind of picked it up from one of his family members and just didn't like to speak, was afraid to speak, and he was given an assignment to write an essay or something, and he did such an awesome job on this essay. The teacher couldn't believe that he wrote it, so the teacher made him do it again. And I believe he kind of did it from memory. And he was so good at articulating this essay that this teacher continued to encourage him, right? Continued to encourage him to join the debating team, to just get out there, to participate in plays, continue to write and to speak. And so James Earl Jones is an artist, Darth Vader, I believe it was, but he's known to have one of the greatest, smoothest voices of all times. But James Earl Jones stuttered. And one of the characteristics that you'll find in his life that helped him get over stuttering is something that we're going to talk about in just a moment. But I want you to see in all three of the people that I'm about to share with you, you're going to see a common thread, a common characteristic. So just remember that. So we have James Earl Jones. Another person in history, Prince Albert, who then became King George VI, I believe it is. And you'll recognize him from the King's Speech. And so he obviously had a stutter, and he took coaching lessons or speech therapy from a guy that they call Birdie, right? So there's another common thread that we find in King George's life. Now, what's that common thread? Do you see it starting to come out? Okay, let's talk about another guy that goes way back to like 380 BC. His name was Demosthenes, and he was Athenian. And Demosthenes had a terrible stutter. He even said that people would rather listen to sailors than listen to him. And he said the sailors were people that no one wanted to listen to because they were cursing all the time and just terrible speakers. And people would rather listen to sailors than him. So Demosthenes came across a guy who was like a playwright, an actor, and his name was Satyrus. And Satyrus would work with Demosthenes on imitating or mimicking other excellent speakers, and he would just work with him on that. And then Demosthenes eventually developed his own therapeutic program that he shut himself in the basement, shaved his head, or shaved half his head, and worked vigorously on this program that he developed for himself. So there's a common thread with all three of these people. What is it? Well, there's a few things. One, you're going to find that all three of them had someone who encouraged them or coached them. James Earl Jones, King George, Demosthenes. They all had that person in their life that coached them, that worked with them, that pushed, whether it's formally or informally. They were there to encourage that person, to give them strategies or techniques to help them become fluent speakers, at least to help them become great orators or presenters. The other common thread is that they had some sort of a strategy or an approach, right? They had some sort of an approach. What James Earl Jones did is he participated in activities that required him to do what? To speak. What did King George do? Well, when King George worked with his therapist, he worked with him on speaking, on giving speeches, on working on his voice and his inflections and so forth. What did Demosthenes do? Well, he imitated people, and he perfected his ability to present, to give speeches. Now, they say that Demosthenes probably never really overcame stuttering in terms of conversation, but most certainly he was known to be one of the greatest Greek orators and possibly one of the greatest orators of all time in the entire world. Okay, so they had an approach that they used to improve their fluency, their speech. What's the third characteristic? They took action. They did something. Demosthenes did something. He spent intense time working on his speech. James Earl Jones spent intense time speaking in the debate team, in plays, and whatever he could do to continue to speak. So that was his approach. King George spent intense time working with his therapist, working with his coach. So three things that are common in all of them, and that you'll find common in many people who used to stutter and are now famous or now great speakers. One, they had someone to encourage them, to walk with them. Two, they had an approach, something that they did over and over and over again. And then three, they took action on that approach. So they didn't just have the approach, but they actually took action, they worked hard. In the private intensive coaching program, you get all three of those things. You get me as your coach. And as you'll see from some of the evaluations, not from all of the evaluations, I'm completely dedicated and I invest a lot of time and energy in you. And guess what? I expect you to do the same thing. I expect you to invest a lot of time and energy, not in me, but in you. I expect you to be successful, and therefore I encourage you, and I also provide you with an approach. Not just any approach, but an approach that works. I am watching it work before my very eyes. I had sessions today. I have sessions almost every day, and I see people transforming, and they tell me that they're transforming, and their family and their friends and their employers tell them that they see a difference. I used the same approach, and that's the reason I'm able to stand and speak with you now. Other people that I've never worked with use a similar approach, right, to become fluent and smooth and confident speakers. So I've developed a systematic way, a systematic approach that you and I work through to help you become a smooth, fluent, and confident speaker. What else do we do? Well, there are essentially three things that we work towards. One is creating a new presentation style for you. Two, a new conversational style. And then three, which is more advanced, a conversational presentation style. So we work on all three of those things. And we do that in a very interactive but intensive environment. So over the course of a minimum of 12 weeks, because it takes about 90 days or 12 weeks for you to really get into this, for things to really take effect. And so we work together for 12 weeks. We meet at least once a week, often more, but at least once a week, usually twice. And we meet on video, so I can see you and you can see me, and we do email and so forth. And what you're able to do is you're able to grow quite quickly from where you are now to where you want to be. And it's quite amazing for even you to see that, wow, I didn't know I could feel this confident or that I could speak this fluently. But you actually see it and experience it. And that's my job, is to provide you with the tools and provide you with the encouraging environment, and to help you stay motivated so that you can actually see this change, and so that you can experience the freedom that I know you're looking for to be able to do, be, say, and have the things that you know you're capable of. Now, who is this for? This coaching program is not for everyone. It's not for people that just casually want to stop stuttering. As you may have heard me say before, this program is for people that need to speak well, that need to speak smoothly, fluently, confidently. There's a difference between needing to do something and wanting to overcome something. Think about it like this. There's a story, and I don't know the exact details of it. This very famous guy, very wise guy, and he was talking with someone, and he said, well, how can I become wiser? How can I become wiser? And so the guy takes him down to the stream or the river, and he dunks his head underwater, and he holds him there, and then he brings him, the guy's fighting, and he's gasping for air, and he brings him up, and he says, when you desire wisdom, when you want wisdom as much as you wanted air, then you'll be wise. And so it's the same thing here. When you get to the place where you need to speak well in the same way that you need air, then this is going to be the program for you. Now, I want to encourage you to go out and try everything and anything that you feel like you need to try. But if you come to the place where you feel like, okay, I've tried speech therapy, I've tried all kinds of different things, and speech therapy works for many people, and there are other great programs that work for many people. But if you've tried them and they haven't worked for you, then this is going to probably be the program for you. I'm extremely confident, 100% confident, that if you come in and you work hard and you do what I ask you to do, you're going to see results, okay? I'm going to provide you with the tools. You do the work, you're going to see results, right? If you don't do the work, you're not going to see results. If you do a little bit of the work, you may see results. But if you do the work, like the people I'm working with now, and I only work with a handful of people at a time because I want to be able to give them the attention and the energy that they deserve and that I want to give them, they're seeing results. You're going to see results. Okay. Doesn't matter if you start for 20 years, 30 years, 50 years, or 7 years or 8 years. Going to see results if you do the work that I'm asking you to do. So this program is not an inexpensive program. It's not cheap because, once again, I devote a lot of time to you, and I've put a lot of time and resources actually in developing this and in making sure it works. Now, here's something else. Not only do I work with you for those 12 weeks, but I give you the tools and I equip you so that beyond the 12 weeks, you're going to be able to continue to be your own speech coach, right? So what I'm doing is I'm training you to be your own speech coach. And you're going to start that process from day one. You're going to have to start coaching yourself, right? You've got to do the work outside of our sessions, and that's where you'll see the results. So the final thing that I'll say is that I have a prerequisite, and that prerequisite is that you've tried minimally the Power Coach approach, perhaps 21 steps to start speaking more smoothly and fluently and confidently. You've tried those and you've seen some results, even if there's been small changes, small results, but you've tried it, you've seen results, and now you're ready to move to the next level. I have at least a couple of my clients who've been working through those programs for a year. They've seen results, but they needed more. They were ready to take the next step. And so I didn't have to sell them. I didn't have to convince them. You're not going to see any sales pages here. You're not going to hear me now trying to persuade you that this is for you and you need to grab it right now because the doors are going to close. I'm not going to do any of that because I only want people who already know and already believe that this approach is going to work for you. And that's critical, right? You and I don't want to be working together if you're doubting, if you're thinking, is this right? Oh, that's too expensive. Or I don't have time to do that. No, when you come through the doors, you're going to be ready and you're going to know that I'm the person you want to work with. You're going to know that this is the approach that's going to work for you, and that all you need is you need that relationship to encourage you. You need the tools, the environment, and you need someone to help you stay motivated to do the work, right? So that's who this program is for. That's what this private intensive coaching program is about. So I hope that this has been a great little overview for you about this program. I love what I do. As I said in one of the other videos, coaching wasn't something that I originally wanted to get in, but I knew that if I wanted to be more transformational, that this was something I needed to do, and this has also been transformational for me. So thank you very much for listening. If you're interested, shoot me an email. I will do a little preliminary interview. I have an application process or an application that you'll complete. We'll review the application and let you know if and when there are seats available for you. Thank you very much, and I look forward to working with you soon. This is Michael Williams.